Tonight at 10, back behind bars. Police have caught the convicted murderer who walked away from his prison worksite earlier this week. Police have been looking for Todd Brecht all week after he was reported missing from his job site in Oneida County. And now tonight, we know he made it all the way to Orlando, Florida before he was caught. Let's get right to Sky 113 meteorologist Matt Hoffman for a look at how cold temperatures will dip tonight. And Matt, it sounds like our attention will turn to some snow for tomorrow. If it's going to be this cold, I'd rather have snow on the ground too, because it makes it just feel more like winter. New beauty trend to keep skin looking young is raising eyebrows. It's called the vampire facelift. It doesn't require surgery, just some of your own blood. I know it sounds weird, but stay with me. Hey guys, the atmosphere tonight in court is a little more tense as we enter hour 20 of deliberations. Now, we haven't heard much from the jury since late this afternoon when they came into court and told the judge that they had reached an agreement on 14 of the charges, but were still deadlocked on 2. The judge then gave the jury the dynamite instructions, which basically tells them to try harder and make an honest attempt at coming to an agreement on those 2 counts. Judy, I got a look at the alien abduction ride, and it's not something for the faint-hearted rider, but there's a lot of other things like the merry-go-round and Ferris wheel that people can check out. We're in the midst of July, and it's feeling hot, hot, hot. Temperatures are expected to hit 90s this week across western Wisconsin. Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Lowry. It's our first official heat wave of the summer, so just how hot will it feel? Hey guys, I'm at the intersection of River Prairie Drive and Highway 53 in Altoona, and while the snow has stopped falling for tonight, as you can see behind me, there are a lot of slick spots on the roadway and still some snow-covered areas. In fact, that there was an accident about a half-mile north of here just a few minutes ago, and that's exactly why officers say this time of year, your winter driving motto should be expect the unexpected. Another big story tonight. It's been almost 3 months since Reach Incorporated, a business that helps people with disabilities through programming and job training, lost its home on 3rd Street in Eau Claire to a fire. Brandy Harrington is facing 2 charges of arson relating to the fire, but as WEU's Olga Michelle shows us, the nonprofit is starting a new chapter with help from the community. A golden retriever in Vernon County survived nearly 2 weeks without food and water before being rescued. This is video captured on cell phones as the rescue crews worked to free the dog. Vernon County Animal Control Officer Seth Young says he found the dog named Mercedes trapped in a meadow culvert in the town of Jefferson. Young says with the help of the Viroqua Fire Department, he got Mercedes out of the culvert with the jaws of life. He says she wasn't hurt, but was very hungry and thirsty, and I'm sure her family is happy to have her home. Well, hundreds of people braved the frigid temperatures to get in the holiday spirit in Chippewa Falls tonight. The 24th annual Bridge to Wonderland Parade made its way down the streets of Chippewa Falls this evening. There are around 60 floats, including WEU's very own float. Altoona police have arrested a man after they say he fired 2 shots inside his home. 28-year-old Leonard Pope of Altoona was arrested at his home on Hayden Avenue Friday night. They say Pope was drunk, went inside a bedroom and took out a gun. His girlfriend said she heard the first shot when she was at the neighbors. The police arrived. They say they heard a second shot. It is unknown where the shots were fired or at what. He is now facing several possible charges, including intoxicated use of a firearm. A Waukesha County deputy was injured while trying to rescue a suicidal man in Pewaukee. The Sheriff's Department says it happened late last night at the Waukesha Lime and Stone Company. Family members called police saying the 23-year-old man was suicidal. When deputies arrived, he was standing at the edge of the quarry. Deputies tried to negotiate with him, but he jumped. Due to icy conditions, deputies had trouble reaching him. One deputy slipped and injured his ankle. The man who jumped was flown to the hospital with serious injuries. First on Fox, winter doesn't officially start until December 21st, but it sure doesn't look that way across Wisconsin. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Lowry. Right now, a winter weather advisory is in effect for much of our viewing area. Here's a live look outside at the UW Eau Claire campus where the snow is making for a pretty sight, but leaving the roads not too pretty for drivers. So let's get straight to meteorologist Matt Hoffman for a look at what we can expect in the overnight hours. Matt, are we looking at some more sub-zero temps to go along with this snow? The snowy and slippery road conditions caused dozens of vehicles to crash outside Milwaukee today. At least 2 people have died in crashes connected to the weather, and at least 7 tractor trailers and more than 30 vehicles crashed in wintry weather along a 5-mile stretch of the interstate. Many of them ended up in ditches or alongside the highway. Among those involved in the crashes is Senator Kathleen Vinehout. According to the senator's Facebook page, Vinehout is currently getting care at a local hospital, but no other information has been released. Bus passengers Passengers described frightening road conditions right before their ride home to Indiana crashed. Nestled in the bluffs of the Mississippi River, on the edge of Buffalo County, sits a piece of state history.
I wouldn't recognize it hardly.
The Monarch Public House has kept its doors open since 1894, making it the longest-running tavern in Wisconsin.
The building was built in 1893, finished in 1894 by the Odd Fellows, which was a very large men's philanthropic organization.
For generations, the Monarch has welcomed guests like Gordon Apps.
Every night after work, we'd come up there and the bar was full. Everybody, we had about 4 or 5 or 6 businesses in this town at one time. And at that time, I said everybody ganged up after work and had to tell their stories.
Gordon's memories of yesteryear form the foundation of the pub.
These rock that are laying here are stone. They were quarried right out here where the boatyard is now.
One of Gordon's first jobs was to haul coal to the building to heat the tavern and grocery store next door.
Backed it up right up to the rafters.
Gordon's watched as the stacks of coal disappeared, owners changed, and patrons come and go.
Came over here in '93 to look at hunting land, so I came downtown to see what I could do, and there was a light on out here, and they had an old Schlitz sign hanging in front, and I thought, well, Schlitz, you know, I'll be safe in there. And long story short, I ended up staying upstairs.
6 months later, John Harrington and his wife bought the Monarch.
I said, heck, I'll save it and restore it.
Memories Gordon and John now share over beer every Sunday. Meet the Fentresses. Emma, Jack, and Becca love playing sports, music, and staying connected.
I have like a folder on my iPod, and it's like Facebook, Skype, Instagram, Snapchat. I Snapchat almost all the time.
I Snapchat. I not as much as Emma though.
9-year-old Becca can't wait to set up her first profile.
Some of my friends have Snapchat, Instagram. I just want them, but I know I shouldn't have them.
When it comes to social media, Facebook is like a high school football game, a parent-approved activity with plenty of adults watching. But it's the newer sites like Snapchat, Kik, Facebook, Poke, and Instagram that are popular underneath the bleachers.
We're learning along as parents just as much as the kids are.
Holly Fentress says as a business owner, she considers herself tech savvy, but with 3 kids and just as many devices, it's impossible to monitor everything.
I normally keep track of it with my daughter or my son telling me.
Emma says she uses Snapchat to show friends what she's up to.
Stuff in your life that you're doing, but yet you can show them instead of having to explain how funny it is to them.
And while Holly says she trusts her daughter, learning about apps like Snapchat make her uneasy.
She's like, oh, Mom, take a look at this picture. And I was busy doing work on the computer. And by the time I looked up to see it, it was gone. It's like one bad thing and thousands of people can see it, or a picture, and they just don't always know what's proper and what's not.
But if you talk to your kids, you'll find they're listening.
Whenever I do post a picture, it's either I think, is it informative, humorous, or helpful?
And I don't want to have to be put into a situation that makes me uncomfortable or would make my parents be less respectful of me and my decisions.
Hit so close to home, and a lot of my memories are burned.
Pat Petrick lives across the street from the Midway. She says on Saturday she was woken up by a phone call warning her there was a fire nearby.
And there was this little light coming from, because there's a back door, and it's from that area. That was a little flame, and then it kept building, and all of a sudden it's like an explosion. There was no sound, but anyway, it's full exhaustion.
She snapped these pictures of a building that held the memories of many weddings and nights out for her and her family.
It's sad. It's sad. It's been a landmark for Independence.
The Independence Police Department says it responded to a fire at the La Hacienda Club Midway early Saturday morning.
Fire crews arrived on scene, found the dance hall portion of the building to be fully engulfed in flames. They were able to contain most of the fire just to the dance hall.
The fire at the La Hacienda Club Midway is still under investigation, but the Independence Police Department says so far there isn't anything suspicious about the fire.
It's still under investigation as it is a business, so that there's a little bit more investigation that's handled. It's just a routine investigation.
From her window across the street, Pat can see crews clean up the debris from the fire. She says she hopes once the cleanup's done, a new chapter for the Midway will begin.
Hopefully gets cleaned up and something gets put in there.
In Independence, Megan Lowry, WEAU 13 News.